buzzword these days. There's a bit of history for somebody, there's a bit of anxiety for someone, especially the generation which is coming up. They are a little bit perplexed about what is going to be their future. So, traditionally speaking, we had the curriculum, the learning, and the jobs that were set to trend historically for the past 50 years or so. But now this new trend is making people anxious about their future, about their job securities, about their trends, what's happening. So I thought it is a good time to address those issues. I usually try to gather knowledge through the reading and watching podcasts and videos and stuff. So based on my knowledge, what I acquired, I wanted to present some of those. To start with, AI is not a new term. The term was coined back in 1956. So it is not new, it was there. From then, basically what the AI meant at the time was, can the machine do certain tasks like the humans do? It's basically, you have data, based on the knowledge what you have, you execute the operations, execute the decisions. So there's nothing but making or taking the decisions based on your available data or knowledge. That's basically what AI is doing. And the root of AI is, believe it or not, alhamdulillah, it's Muslims. Al-Khwarizmi is a scientist who existed back in the days. He was a Persian scientist, and he's the one who invented algorithms, algebra. So that is algebra and algorithm is a set of commands you give for a desired outcome. That's basically what AI does. So algorithms are a set of commands executed for a desired outcome. So that's been in existence since 1956, but obviously there was not so much communication or internet communication, so much so that you cannot gather all the information in one place and interact among that information. What happened in the 90s and 2000s and until now, there were computers. Now they came the internet. Now they came the fiber optic cables across the world to join all the information around the world. Now you can access the information from the deepest part of Africa to Amazon jungles, to New York City, to London, Johannesburg, wherever it may be. Now all these libraries or the information or the knowledge you have in all these different parts of the world is now able to be accessed at a central point, which happened because of the internet majority. Now what we used to do is, back in the days we used to have libraries. Every book was put up in a library, so you had to go to a library to access information. But now all those books are digitized and put into one place. And then everybody can access it. It's pretty much an open source pretty much. Currently, I think a person living in the deepest part of Africa, where we took a tour or anywhere else, has the same access as a person living in Harvard. So this is, alhamdulillah, it's a blessing that the information has become so accessible these days. Never in the history, never in the known history of mankind, ever it happened. So that made things much easier to execute the tasks, to execute the jobs. At the same time, it brought some of the anxiety and some kind of a fear of unknown. What's going to be next future? What are you going to do now? So this particular thing which is now evolving based on the, let's say it's ChatGPT or Gemini or Grok or Claude, anywhere. Everybody's in a rush to build certain things that would make faster, the information faster and more accessible. So we saw recently DeepSeek. They are the ones who came up with some of the cheapest form of AI generation, AI machines and algorithms. So similarly, there are Meta, there are a lot of the companies investing heavily on AI. What that is causing is a panic among the jobs. That where are they heading now? What is their future? Most of them, if I want to talk to them, they say, yes, it is there. There will be some jobs will be obsolete as we go. But like it is, the AI needs to learn certain things so before which you get replaced. So now that it is still fairly new, now what is a term called hallucinations. So when you ask an AI chatbot about certain things, some of the tasks it does very flawlessly, but at the same time it has some hallucinations. It just goes haywire. Sometimes it's not going to be able to. For example, if you say 0.11 is greater than 11 or something like that. So, and if you multiply 0.001 with something, and then what about the other one? So it just gets puzzled. Some of them are fantastic. So similarly, what is happening is it's all about collecting the data, learning. Just like the Tesla car is also the same thing. What it does is, whenever they're driving, so they're trying to gather as much data as possible. It needs to identify the objects. It has to differentiate between a human being and an object, a cat or a dog, or some of the articles which are broken, like it could be a piece of metal on the road. So those things are developed by collecting the data and feeding it into a system and making it accessible to everybody. So the trend is a little bit, it's a little bit anxious that making people that hey, what's going to happen? Historically, when I was an engineer or a doctor or a dentist or a nurse or a pharmacist, whichever, you know what your goal was, what your career was. Now it is becoming more and more a gray area as to which kind of a job is going to survive, which kind of job is not going to survive. In general, the Altman is a guy who is the CEO of the ChatGPT now, Sam Altman. He was saying that anything which needs a human touch and interaction, those are going to be not easily replaceable. Again, everything is up in the air and there's so much going on. We only know this after a certain time, maybe 5 years down the line, you would know what's going to happen. And the podcaster did ask Sam Altman what jobs do you think would be there in 5 years or 10 years or 15 years. So he kept giving examples of what jobs are going to be here or not. But the bottom line is human beings evolved for so long. This is not going to go away. They will learn something new skill. Back in 2000, if you remember, there was a Y2K. So everybody said that, oh, the computers are going to be here, and all these jobs are going to be gone, accountants. Historically, they used to do the ledger journal in a book. There used to be a book, like a khada book, or whatever we call there. So you have to physically enter the ledger and journal, and then you balance the sheet and all that. Whereas computers came in, of course those jobs were there. People had to learn a little bit, do some learning curve, which they adopted, and then they evolved. So the kind of anxiety and the panic among the people is normal when something new comes in and you are not aware of what's going to be in the future. It is pretty, it's human nature that it's a fear of unknown again. So how the young generation can cope with this? First, we understand the challenges of AI. what it's doing is, once you have certain thing, which is going to answer every question of yours. So anything you ask him, it's going to answer you. If you answer it, it's the kids of the teenagers and the young kids are using it as a tool to interact. They're becoming like a shrink, a psychologist. They're asking pretty much all the questions. Anything they have problem, oh, what do I do now? I have this exam, what do I do? I have this problem, personal problems, everything. One way it is good that they are able to get the answers. At the same time, if the prompts, that's what it is called, prompts are, when you ask a question, how to ask the question in a certain way, for that to give you an answer. And typically AIs are, the algorithms are set in such a way that it satisfies you or pleases you. It never goes against your will. So they have to use that very carefully, at the same time make the best use of it. Now, for example, if the kids have like a homework, a paragraph writing or an essay writing or things like that. Nowadays, most of the kids, they just go type in the prompt, the paragraph, and then they just take this whatever is coming on the AI. They're submitting it. Or some of them are even smart enough to do some corrections or manipulations and things like that. So, in a sense, that the teaching system is thinking that, are we making the kids dumber? They are not able to think otherwise. If the AI was not there, kids might have thought better. Which, again, is a debatable question. Rather than just focusing on this writing and reading comprehension or paragraph or things like that, they can spend the same time somewhere else. Now that this task, nobody wants to be an English, not nobody, but very few wants to be an English literature kind of approach. There are bigger problems to solve. People have better things to do. People are evolving. They want to be advancing in medicine. They want to be advancing in mental health. They want to be advancing in communication, travel, all these things. So much so that the kids, when they're interacting with the AI, they are taking a different path as to, like a friend, like a, so they're becoming more like a companion or things like that. So which is again, some are saying it's very alarming because some are physically now emotionally depending on that. Now combine this with the humanoid robots. That's what basically coming now next, which basically I think Elon and Chinese companies wants to contact some of the robots. And the robots are there who are looking like a human, and now you have this AI coming into there with the prompts and everything, which basically attracts you like a human being. That emotional dependency is also some of the strategies people play. So that's where the AI trends are going. I was hoping that this discussion would be more of a teenager and an early 20s who would be sitting and discussing their problems and issues. But I think we can have another session sometime later when we have that kind of opportunity. And this is again, it's a buzzword. It's everybody wants to talk about. And I was trying to touch base and see if any of the young adults would have any questions or how they are dealing with. I wanted more. It was more of me to understand their understanding, like how they are going to be dealing with their thing and how even including my children, so they can understand or teach them. Other than this, I think this is just want to keep it short this time, and thank you very much. If any of you have some points or anything you know of to want to share, much appreciated.
That becomes a problem because now there is no real authority authority, a human authority. You're assuming that that machine is going to give you the answer. People do that all the time. Right now, for example, we look at Facebook and X and say, oh, this is reality, this is the news. And that whole mentality is going to go in back into the AI system. It has benefits, as you mentioned, technology, in medicine, selecting. But when it comes to the interaction, the way they are, especially the human side of things, and the way the kids are getting comfortable using it, that poses more problems towards the psychology and actually wrong information, believing that and actually acting on it, which is a problem. People have created guns, people have created means of hurting others. A lot of it is out there.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty dangerous world. At the same time, I think more than teaching them how to not to get in here, you have to teach them how to maneuver these things. You'll be surprised. You sit and talk to your children. I don't know how many of us know here dark web. Dark web is supposedly the 90% of the browsed content on the web. Right? Only whatever we think the Gmail, whatever the Outlook, what we're using, is only 10% of it. So 90% is under there, dark web. So that's so initially they created this for military purposes, and now it is gone haywire. And I was watching other documentaries about this dark web. This is 90% of the web browsing. So that means combine all the 6 billion people, whatever they're browsing, only 10%. Whatever is known, everything else is happening everywhere. So
this is called Tor Network. You can download the browser. You can go today, and all your personal information, if it's stolen, it's being stolen on dark web. They call it dark web. They don't want to say Tor. Otherwise, people are going to download the browser and use it. It started out as first the U.S. Navy started it, and then they started giving access and encouraging the journalists globally to do that. I don't know if you know how it works. When you send a message from one computer to the other, you can see where it's going, the hop. So from here, you can know where it came from. In this structure, it goes from different structures. You don't know where it's coming from, so you don't never know the source. So if I write something and you get it, you don't know where it's coming from, which means if I am a bad actor, I'm selling drugs. You don't know where it's coming from, who is selling, where it's selling. They're selling drugs and sending it through USPS today. They've been doing it for years. So, and you can imagine if energetic kids start doing these things and where it can lead. So that is why they never use the word Tor. Because you search Tor, you'll see the browser, you download it. It's just not rocket science. It's very simple. They just don't like it.
You were surprised, this is very, even the teenager, middle school, high school, the kids talk about this. And I didn't know Tor until this, when they started talking about it. So I'm like, okay, what is Tor? Now that you can access everything, what the thing is access is there. So then I dig deeper, just like you said, it's meant for Navy initially. Navy was doing the encrypted messages. Then what happened was they kind of got scared because
it started growing without them realizing.
Yeah, so what happened? No, it was not for public. They realized that if somebody can hack into it, they can only do exactly what they understand. So they said, let's make it so public that we are hitting someone.
No, there's a protocol, and they used to use it called NMTP, node-to-node transfer protocol, and it was that you wouldn't know where it's coming from. So this whole thing is based on NMTP, and people were doing NMTP from all over the world, and now it's because they have no control, they can't control it anymore. I don't think there would be anything that you would know what's happening. Because if you can track data, you have the possibility, but you won't know.
Because it's a decentralized system.
It is very easy.
So when it's a decentralized system, it's hard to attach chaotic. It's like Bitcoin is the same thing, and all this blockchain and everything. So decentralized. You will know what is moving, but you cannot catch something. So everybody's so now add to that the quantum computing coming now.
Oh.
So that is another this one So if you have this quantum computing and this all this
if quantum computing comes in, every encryption that we have ever done, which we think is going to take 1 billion years to crack, is going to be cracked in a second. Oh yeah, that's a problem.
So that's why they say that Bitcoin is basically hanging there. So as soon as the quantum computer is able to crack the code,
it'll break. It'll break.
I heard that Trump government is trying to back the dollar against the cryptocurrency.
Yeah. The one idea is Trump signed a law something like a week and a half ago with stablecoin. The idea is to say, okay, the stablecoin we change dollar to dollar, so dollar becomes cryptocurrency, stablecoin. What people are fearing is by next July, the US government is possibly planning to devalue dollar like they did in 71. If they did that, there is another thought, and I don't know if it is true. People are claiming, people claim a lot, that US government may revalue gold to $15,000 an ounce again next year. The problem basically is with their tons of spending and everything, it's coming home to roost. There will be inflation big time. Don't know. These are all rumors. It may all be like in the air, nothing true. We don't know. But the real issue is the U.S. debt. They have to recycle $16.5 trillion in next 1 year or 2 years. They don't know if people around the globe or locally are going to buy it. If they don't, the interest rate goes, the dollar goes down. So $16.5 trillion in a year or 2 years. Not fun. Anyway.
That's a good discussion to have, right? So this is all the things which happening in the mainstream. A lot of times we're just sitting on cocoons. Comfort
we're just seeing this much.
We don't want to know either, but it's not a choice. The more you know information.
See, Azerbaijan was one of the producers of gold exporting gold. Azerbaijan is importing gold. They're not exporting gold right now. A lot of gold is being bought outside of the traditional quote-unquote Western control markets. It's out. So this is not going to be fun. I don't know what's going to happen in a couple of years. The problem at that time, the people who suffer are the people who at the bottom of the economic pyramid. It may all be like false, but this is half the time is like maybe 10% of it is true, but 10% is huge. We don't know. Even the people who create it, who think it's smart, they don't know. You create a path somebody else can walk in.
There are always some patches and doors open somewhere.
Well, the point is, have you had software development background? Developers don't try to make it. It just gets in there because sometimes you miss some things. Companies try to train everyone, but you can't control it. It's not necessarily one piece of code, like 5 pieces. The combination can be a problem. You wouldn't know. You have no idea. So everybody's coding, you don't. Nobody is. Even the people who are creating the AI systems, they got no clue what it's going to say. They don't control it.
It's almost a trial and error.
Oh, yeah.
So it is,
That's why they marketed it, because they didn't want to wait for 2, 3, 4 years testing. They said, okay, if it's hallucinating, it's creating something, so what? So, anyway.
Sorry to rush to first in the market. So
But
launch something that they say, well, even if they do the testing, no matter how much it's
the cost benefit analysis at this time is negative. They're spending billions, getting millions. It's still negative. It's not there.
they're scared it's going to get a dot-com bust. So
That is very possible. Even, everybody's doing cloud. The cloud has not actually changed the mathematics at all. It just didn't. Same with this AI. It's using energy, more energy than the whole country is what we're talking about.
the amount of processing speed you need, the GPUs you need, the
Too much.
yeah, consumption.
Yeah.
As you say, someone's got to go back to those clouds as
Oh,
well.
yeah. Look, Uber got hacked. You know how? Somebody in public S3 told me, left their key, which is the key to get into the system. It was publicly available. There was a kid who found it, 16-year-old. They only paid him $100,000. Everybody was joking that they should have paid him up to a few million. But that's human error. It happens all the time. So that's why you can never be sure. I don't know if you know Open SSL that came in last year. It's called Cryhope or something. That thing has been in use for decades. It's been in use on many, everything security you talk about. It's there. And when that bug came in, we found out it's been here for years. Nobody knew it. It was being exploited. It took at least a year because they had to change. They didn't know where it was because it was used so much, so many places. It was hard to get rid of. It was one by one. Not fun.
That's why these kids are the hackers and stuff. They know these vulnerabilities that they're able to tap into it.
You can download software to hack. It's freely available. There's nothing funky about it. People do it all the time. Anyway.
Yeah, it seems like an what do we call like a Pandora's box.
Oh, yeah. It's never ending. So that's why what you were doing, which is inform them to how to not be part of that scale. Just general. Everybody has a Facebook. Why? What is it? Is your world gonna end without Facebook? What's gonna happen? Stop. Not only that, I don't know if you noticed. First time was what was the tool before Facebook?
Orkut.
No, not Orkut. Yeah, that came out. A guy in UK created a website called pleaserobme.com. It was just a search for everybody's messages. MySpace. The search was right. So he just said, if you're not home, you can be eating. You're just saying, oh, I'm here eating, I'm here on vacation. When you're somewhere else, you're not home, which means come and rob me. So the guy created just a search. The website would say, this location, how many people are not home? I'll show you. You're not home? Okay, come and rob me. The whole website was pleaserobme.com. Wow. So, it's very...
The more you dissect it, it's more scary.
It is. That's what I'm saying. At that time, everybody was like, they wouldn't say a word because they were terrified. And there are other things people can do, government's doing. Government, there is a tool, I forgot what his name was. At first, they said it's classified because that become public information. They said, okay, not classified. They can set up an antenna outside. all your communications will go to 2G. They know and they can record anything. You wouldn't even know.
Especially now that is, the phones are,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
whenever you're talking, let's say we're talking about something,
Oh yeah,
you will probably see those snaps to be
all the time,
made.
all the time, all the time.
Yeah, so it's nothing, no privacy.
That's why the new phones, you cannot take the batteries out.
Exactly. Yeah, back in the days, you can take the battery out, not anymore.
Yeah, you can't take the battery out.
Turn it off, go in, come back home, open it, say, okay, where I was, it will tell you
Don't
exactly
tell
where you
Yeah.
just
Back
turn
in
it
the days,
off.
there's phones with GSM and SIM card. So there were two ones. GSMs were integrated batteries.
Yes.
The SIM card was the original
Yeah.
battery. But then eventually the SIM, they
Yeah.
merged into the same thing.
Yeah.
So the battery.
So you cannot take the battery out anyway, which means you're always being watched, always being listened to, all the time. It's not.
Especially with Alexa and Disney's are all
Stay away from this.
So cameras,
The listening devices. Listening to camera devices. Anyway.
Thank you. I was just more learning. It's not, they say the best way to learn is to
Yeah, what?